the Brotherhood is everything, when you go out and you play a sport that's as physical, you got to get those guys out there and you got to get them prepared for war.
What's up, Tigers, and welcome to the second season of Tackle Talks, a student-run production where we get to showcase the incredible staff and players that make our program what it is and define what it means to be a Tiger. For this inaugural episode, I'm incredibly delighted to be joined by probably the biggest hype man on the entire team, 6-year and 4-season veteran, one of the most decorated players we have, and a personal friend of mine, Liam Chisari.
Yay, woo. No, thank you for having me, Jaden.
I'm so delighted.
It's a pleasure to be on the show. It's a pleasure to be here for the first episode, too. I'm looking forward to the conversation we have.
Liam, we're going to get to all your accolades in just a minute, but I just need to clear something up really quick. You're a pretty big Patriots fan. Would you say that's correct?
I'm a massive Patriots fan. Born and raised in New England, so definitely a huge Patriots fan.
When did you switch over from liking the Raiders?
Oh, wow. There's no way you pulled out the photo. When I was pretty young, honestly, probably when I watched the Patriots win their first Super Bowl, I would say, actually, it had to have been before that. But no, I used to like the Raiders. That is true. When me and my brother would play in Madden, in the old Madden games, you couldn't pick the same team, or you could, and, it was just too confusing. So I chose the Raiders as my team because I liked the emblem when I was a kid.
There you go.
And actually, it's funny because my high school team was also the Raiders, the Freiburg Raiders. So there we go.
I should have had that in my cards. Just to prove that you're actually a Patriots fan, I have some trivia for you.
Oh, Lord.
A little bit off script.
Oh, God.
So we're going to get this. The first question is the hardest. This is before you were born. In 2000, Tom Brady was the fourth string quarterback on the Patriots depth chart. Who was number one?
Drew Bledsoe.
That's correct. Perfect. The Patriots moved and changed their name in 1971. What was their home city prior to that?
Wasn't it Boston?
Bingo.
Yeah, I think that one's harder than the first question.
Is it? Jim got it immediately when we asked him.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this one is fun.
Yeah, they're now in Foxborough, if you wanted to know.
Which one?
The Patriots, when they moved to Foxborough, Mass. So
there you go.
No longer in Boston.
And out of Bill Belichick's 8 Super Bowl rings, how many are from the Patriots?
6. No, yeah, it's just.
That's also correct.
6, yeah.
There you go.
One of them's for the Browns, and one of them's for. Was it the Giants?
I think it's the Giants because he was at the Giants right before he was on.
That's what I thought. I'm not 100%.
We're going to fact check that in post-production. Well, I guess you are actually a Patriots. I fully thought that this was going to be hard. The original question for the first one was who was third string quarterback in the depth chart.
Oh, God, I have no
And I thought that was too difficult.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is. No, I'm not going to lie.
Well, to get back to your actual incredible legacy, you are one of the most decorated players that we have on the team. You won 2019 Rookie of the Year, 2022 League D MVP, 2024 Comeback Player of the Year, which was actually really special. Rick Rivers said, quote, "I would love to have you on my team," despite his distaste for you sacking quarterbacks. And I think that's pretty sick. And you won 4 All-Stars, one for every season you played in 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2024.
Yeah.
You also, if you actually looked at it, have a 75% win rate.
Is that true?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
There you go.
It's good to know. That's a good stat. That's my favorite stat right there, is the 75% win rate with the team.
Now, over the years, you've played a lot of different sports, including football, lacrosse, hockey, and what you didn't tell me in your interview was that you were actually great at fencing.
Oh my gosh, where did you get these photos, man?
Don't ask.
On my mom's Facebook? Like, what happened?
We dug deep.
Like, how are you getting these, man?
Come on, this is a great costume for you.
Yeah,
I
was a big fan of Puss in Boots, Shrek.
Anyways, when did you start playing football?
So originally, I guess I started playing football. It would have had to be in kindergarten. My dad and actually one of the other parents in my hometown growing up set up a flag football and soccer program where we'd go to the Freiburg rec fields and we would play flag football for half an hour and then we'd play soccer for half an hour. And actually it turned out to be like a pretty big program, and the rec department actually ended up taking that program over for my dad. So I think it would have had to have been like before 3rd grade, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, because I started playing tackle football in 4th grade. So that's when I started playing tackle football. So I've been playing the vast majority of my life. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine little grade 4s running around?
Yeah, it was grade 4 to 6, and then you moved to middle school where it was 7 and 8, and then high school which is 9 through 12, obviously.
So you played football through all those years then?
Of course. Yeah.
You were also quite the lacrosse player, but it's American, so it's field lacrosse, right?
So it was field lacrosse. Yeah, I was a pretty good lacrosse player. I'd actually say a little bit more talented naturally in lacrosse, just because I was a good runner back in the day. But football was always my love, my passion. You know, my favorite sport for sure was football.
And of all these 4 sports, I noticed that there's a common theme that you liked beating people up.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you bring that up. One of my lacrosse coaches in high school, I wasn't actually always a super big kid. I was actually usually the small kid in the room. And he's like, Liam, man, why are you acting like you're 6'4", 225 when you're out here and you're the smallest kid on the field trying to lay people out? Yeah, I always loved contact sports. I think it's probably because I had an older brother, you know, who would kick the crap out of me. So, you know, I had to give it back to someone, you know.
We're actually going to get to him a little bit later in this presentation. Right. But of all of the sports, especially since you were actually playing, did you play hockey at a high level as well?
I did play hockey all the way through high school, yeah.
So that's 3 sports that you played at quite the high level. Why did you choose football when you came to Dal?
Well, I think, honestly, it had a little bit to do with my brother. He definitely loved football, but also like just growing up in the States, you know, when your whole town comes out to games and, you know, everyone's kind of rooting for your team to win. It's kind of a culture thing at that point. You know, you just got to pick the sport. And also, like I said before, it's definitely like, I love the, for lack of a better word, violence of football. You know, you can't really go out there and get all your anger out on a field like you can in football, where it's just the objective is to pretty much bring someone down, lay them out. So I love that part about it. I won't say that hockey or lacrosse aren't brutal sports either, but I did love football just always classically from a young age. So yeah.
To me, you and like a couple other people, like maybe Caden Kwong on the team, just are the epitome of a football player. Like that. This is just, I can see it. I could also see you playing hockey though. I'm not gonna lie.
I appreciate that.
Well, you started with the Tigers in 2019, which was pre-COVID. And actually, while I was digging through redoing our website this year, I found your original commitment post.
Oh my gosh.
So
Man.
that was when you were the same height. But 170 pounds. So that was almost 40 pounds ago.
Yeah, just about. No, yeah, I'm probably about 205 right now, just around there. 203.
You still look the same though, just a little more lanky.
Just a little bit skinnier. Yeah, I was a little bit of a string bean back in the day, but
well, why not?
So you gotta start somewhere, right?
What brought you specifically to Dal, especially since you were coming from the States at the time?
Actually, that's a good question. My mom came to Dal originally, so that's why I was looking for schools up here. And then I came up in 2019 for a visit, and I mean, I had a great interaction with the head coach at the time, Mark Haggett. I absolutely love that man. Mark is a great coach and a great man as well, a great football player back in his day. And he brought me out here, showed us all the new gear. We're just getting brand new state-of-the-art helmets that we have now, which are amazing. And
not these.
No, not these. Yeah, actually, I think we were the first program in Canada to have that type of helmet with the concussion protocol and everything in them.
Yep.
Which is really, really cool. He was showing us that tech, and then he invited me to a couple of the basketball games that were going on at the time. They had some basketball games at the is it the Staples Center? Or
I think it's the Scotiabank now, but it might have been Staples at the time.
Okay. Yeah, he invited me to a couple games, got me some free tickets to that, and so I went out with a couple of guys, met some of them who ended up being my teammates in 2019, actually.
There you
go.
So,
yeah, got to meet some of them, which was really, really cool. And, you know, just kind of the connections I made with those guys and the coach was really the reason I chose to come up to Dal.
Absolutely.
Also, I don't know if you guys know anything about prices for schools in the States, but it's getting a little ridiculous. So definitely being a dual citizen helps out a little bit with that.
Why not? Honestly, I feel like it. And even like, I feel like the international stuff here is crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
You slipped in.
They tried to charge me an international fee actually coming out here 1 year. And I was like, no, I'm a citizen.
I'm Canadian.
I am Canadian.
Well, you did spend 1 year and obviously annihilated since you got an all-star and one rookie of the year, but you left in 2020 to play down in the States.
Yeah. So that's actually, that's an interesting choice I made. So after the 2019 season, I felt like, I had an opportunity to go play somewhere in the States, a little bit closer to home, or that was my plan originally, but I ended up being farther away because West Virginia, where I ended up going to play, was 13 hours away for a drive, and Halifax only 9 hours away from my house. So I actually ended up going farther away, but I went back to the States for COVID because I wasn't sure how the borders were going to work. Borders were shutting down and stuff, so I wanted to be at least able to reach my family if something crazy happened. The world was already going a little bit crazy, but
it was the time.
Yeah, right. And so I ended up being redshirted on the WVU team for a year. I got to work out with the team a couple times. It was a great experience. And then I went on a Division I tour that summer, where I went to a couple places like Virginia Tech, William and Mary's, Bishops, Vanderbilt, or sorry, not Bishops, excuse me. Bishops is a Canadian school.
That's right.
Yeah. No, Vanderbilt, and then a couple other places too.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
the coolest spot actually that I got to go was Clemson, where they have a slide into their weight room.
A slide?
Yeah, they have a slide into their weight room. The facilities there are insane.
That's a wild way to start your you're going down to get a pump and you just take the slide down.
Right. But the coolest camp that I went to was definitely Virginia Tech. Not only was I went to a combine there first, and then I was re-invited back with a couple of the other guys that were with me for like a gear fitting. Like we got to try on some of the gear. I think it's still on my Instagram.
Nice.
If you look at that.
We're gonna go back. Don't worry.
And I got to go see a captain's run practice there, which was really, really insane to watch. And like some of the leadership that those guys have on that team is very inspiring. And honestly, I try to bring some of that here as well. So
I sure think you do. And we'll definitely get to that later. But yeah, football is just a whole different monster, I feel like, down in the States.
Definitely. Yeah.
So then you returned to Dal in 2021 for your second season, and you would stay here for another 4 years, and then you won your first championship in that year, and then got another back-to-back one in 2022.
100%.
In 2022, we won 37-36. What was the significance for you of winning by only 1 point?
Oh man, that is a great question. So, back when I was in high school, when I was a senior in high school, all the program ever wanted to do. For 53 years, we had never made it to a state championship. And for the first time in 53 years, my senior season of high school, we made it to the state championship. And we lost by 1 point, 13-12. I will always remember that score. It haunts me to this day. And it was kind of a comeback win from them. They won on a punt return. They returned a punt return for a touchdown down the sidelines. And I was actually on the field, but on the other side of the field playing gunner. So I'm trailing this guy running down the sidelines, and that image is burned into my memory for sure. So in 2022, when we were down, I think it was 8-25.
It was pretty bad with 5 minutes to go.
8 minutes left in the game. 8 minutes and 35 seconds left in the game, and we ended up coming back and winning that game. That was like a full circle moment in my life. It was a really special game, and definitely a game that I'll never forget at Dal for sure. It felt like, I finally got the revenge on that game that I didn't get in high school. So definitely a full circle moment for me. That's for sure.
Well, unfortunately, we were hoping to take it 3-peat in 2023, but I think because you weren't on the field, we unfortunately didn't get it.
Yeah, well, but I don't know if it was because I wasn't playing, but maybe I would have helped out a little bit.
But you had to take off some time in 2023 season because you had a shoulder injury and you ended up having surgery for it. What happened there?
Right. Yeah, actually. So in that 2022 season, I dislocated my shoulder during a game against Fredericton, which was the team we ended up beating by 1 point. And that was the game I dislocated my shoulder was the only game we lost that season as well too. So
Yeah.
it was a double whammy.
See, I'm telling you, you made the difference.
I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely a double whammy there. So the only game we lost, I dislocated my shoulder. After I dislocate my shoulder, the trainers run out onto the field and they feel in my shoulder socket.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, I think you dislocated your shoulder." And I'm like, "Oh, did I?" And I feel straight down to the socket of my shoulder, like straight in. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And anyways, Lisa comes back on the field. Shout out Lisa. She's like my mom away from moms. Love you, Lisa. And she comes back out and she pulls my arm up over my chest and pops my shoulder back in. And I think I had to take off 3 plays legally, but then I was right back in after those 3 plays, and I played the rest of the game.
You would be.
We lost. And then, yeah, that's another thing that made that 2022 championship special was I played with the dislocated shoulder for the rest of that season, and I was finally able to get the proper brace. Actually, the game before that, the semifinals game, I dislocated my shoulder pretty much on a very similar tackle on like the second or third play of the game. My first tackle of the game, I dislocated my shoulder and I couldn't even play that game. And so it was really like a fight to get back into it. And people were telling me like, "Liam, do you think it's worth it to, go for this?" And I was like, "Of course it's worth it,
Yeah.
Like it's all about sacrifice. Football is all about sacrifice, just a little bit. So personal and for the team. And, I would have been disappointed if I didn't play that game. And, you never know how it would have turned out if we would have won or not, with me or without me. But I like to think I made a little bit of a difference and that I got to at least show the guys that I was there for them, so.
100%. And you were, don't let it get twisted. You were on the sidelines of every single game, probably yelling as much, if not more than the coaches, to be honest with you.
I definitely am pretty loud, yeah.
But that's the best part, and we're definitely going to talk about that down the road too. You after having the shoulder injury, you made a remarkably quick recovery in only 5.5 months, which I think you were supposed to take like 7 or 8.
Yeah, so the person who actually got me my brace, which actually Lisa helped set up, she got me in to a quicker surgery time. She got me set up with the right people for the brace. So, like, once again, huge shout out to Lisa for being like one of the best like PT. She's so committed to the program, so committed to the team, and like you can't find a more caring person when it comes to that. She got me right into that stuff right away, way quicker than I would have got without her help. And yeah, she got me on the right recovery programs too, and I just stayed consistent. And she said, the orthopedic person said that it's usually a 5 to 8 recovery month period. Mm-hmm. And she said the only person that had ever recovered in 5 months was an Olympic athlete that ran track, that she had to, and she was a track runner for the Olympics, and she had recovered in 5 months. And with Lisa's training program, I got back in 5.5. So I think that's not too shabby. I think that was pretty good. So
that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid, especially for contact
I can't take
sport.
the credit. I just followed Lisa's program and I stayed on top of it. So
there you go. Now, finally, we get to talk about the culture, which I think is a huge thing to you. You often talk about this program as like really a brotherhood. What does that mean to you?
Oh, man. Oh, I mean, I could get into it, but everything, man, everything. The brotherhood is everything, When you go out and you play a sport that's as physical and like you can get injured at any moment where your entire shoulder dislocates or any other various amount of injuries could happen. You got to get a group of men who are willing to, almost die on the field for you, for lack of a better term. You got to get those guys out there and you got to get them prepared for war. Like, that's what it is. It's you and the 12 other guys with you or 11 other guys with you. And you got to go out there and you got to physically dominate another 12 people. So that's what it is every single snap of every single game. So without the culture, without having each other's backs, anything can happen. So you got to get the gentlemen prepared. You got to ride for your guys. And, actions always speak louder than words when it comes to that stuff. So you really got to lead from the front. And, yeah, I think it's everything. Sacrifice is everything. Got to sacrifice for each other. Make that work. When
we were talking before, you actually told me to remind you in this section specifically to give a shout out to Nate Whidden.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this guy, man, if you want to talk about someone who instilled the culture of Dalhousie in me, it would have been Nate Whidden. Like, he brought me, like, when I was a rookie and in 2021, he brought me right under his wing. And man, you couldn't have asked for a better leader than that guy right there. He always lifted the boys up. And you want to talk about leading by example. This guy was a prime example of that. You know, he never treated anyone differently. He never looked down on you for being a rookie or anything like that. And I think that's the essence of the culture, honestly. It's, you guys are brothers, and he treated me like a younger brother the entire time I was there. So shout out Nate Whidden. I love you, man. You're a beauty. And he's actually still he's still contributing to the program long after he's graduated with doing the announcing for the games and stuff. So absolute beauty. Every time I see him, man, I'm just ecstatic because he's actually the GOAT.
You also, I mean, talking about getting the boys fired up for war, I'm pretty sure everybody would describe you as probably the most ultimate hype man of all time, whether it's in the weight room or on the field. You have an awful lot of energy. You're always the first one. We can put in a clip of you running out first on the very first game.
Ready? Ho! 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 Ho!
What most important question of the interview, where did your iconic catchphrase of bow come from?
All right, I can't even take credit for that. Honestly, I can't even take credit for that. That is all Jared Chisari right there. The whole bow thing, that was my brother. Every time, you know, he sees me or he's doing something funny, he'll go bow, and you have to respond with hello. The hello part got a little bit lost. Maybe that's my version. But yeah, I definitely stole that from my brother. Yo. Yeah, definitely love Jared though. He's a beauty, and he is one of those guys that brings the energy exactly like me. So you know.
You always speak very, very highly of him. Do you think that he had a lot of influence on not only you playing football, but then the way that you play football as well?
Oh my God, 100%. Jared, I mean, he has a lot of influence on me just in life in general, not even football related. Like, that's my older brother. We're 14 months apart. We've done everything in our lives together, whether it's sports, training, you know, anything. Like, yeah, just living. Like, we live together. So, I mean, I love Jared more than words can describe. Yeah, he's my older brother. He's been one of my greatest influences throughout my entire life, and he's a huge inspiration. And yeah, he definitely contributes to the way that I play football, but also just the way that I live my life and the way like that I am as a man. So, you know, I love Jared, you know.
Another shout out for today.
Yeah, shout out Jared.
So obviously, you started in 2019 and now it's 2024, 2025. You've been around this team for 6 years now. How have you seen the culture and kind of the program shift over that time?
It's actually funny. Yeah, in 2019, I would say the boys definitely weren't as together as they are now. You never really found, like, I mean, it still happened a lot. There were still guys who were super, super close, like Nate, for example, still great instilling cultures. And without those guys from 2019, it wouldn't be where it is today. But the culture has completely elevated from where it started, at least when I joined the team. Mark Haggett always brought the energy. But Dre has brought a different side of the culture here too. And yeah, it's been a great, like a momentous change. Like, the boys do everything together now, whether it's, you know, going out and hanging out, going and grabbing a meal together. You'll never find one of the Dal football guys without one of their boys with them. So it's it's really great to see that. And I mean, that just goes straight back to like the brotherhood thing that I was talking about earlier. You know, we're really a unit. We're brothers, and it's crazy to see how much the culture has changed. And honestly, I gotta say that goes from top to bottom. Like, the younger guys on the team really bought into the culture, and so like we have a bunch of new leaders on the team. Like, for example, Matt Lawton, Sam Martin, shout out to him because he does all of our weight training programs.
We're about to talk about him.
Yeah, and man, this guy is insane. Like, he trains with NHL players in the off season. Like, if you want to get built and huge, do Sam Martin's program, man. Like, stay on that and you will get big, guaranteed. You eat the right food and you stay on that program, it's 100% guaranteed that you'll get big. Yeah, so shout out to all those guys buying into the culture and really like being leaders in their own right. I mean, we have guys that come in every single year and it's instantaneous almost at this point where they buy in and they're willing to sacrifice for the team. And there's no like, there's a massive amount of competition and people will get super, super intense about it. But at the end of the day, it's all, hey, good play, man. And picking each other up,
supportive.
You know, when someone gets knocked down. So I love to see it, and that's how any team should be really about anything. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a shame that that's special, but yeah, that was going to be actually my next question. We just talked about Sam. Obviously, you did his off-season training along with the rest of the guys, especially coming off of a season where you weren't playing. Do you think that the way that he structured the workouts and set everything up made a big difference in this season?
It made a monumental difference. Well, first of all, the proof is in the results. The only thing that follows hard
Undefeated
work is results. Okay, that's just baseline. And when you have a program like Sam Martin put together for the team, when you have people who have competed in the Olympics coming in and showing us how to do hang cleans, power cleans, and stuff like that, which Dre set up.
Shout out to Quinn Everett.
Yeah, shout out to Dre too. Yeah, yeah, shout out. Yeah, Dre set that up too. So Dre was a huge part of setting that culture up as well, where he made it mandatory for everyone to come to the lifts. We got the high performance room every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we're in there together with the team, bonding in the off season, working together, and we're preparing for the next season. And I mean, when you go undefeated, there's nothing that you can say other than the results speak for themselves. Like when you have the vast majority of the team coming to lifts every single night that it's available, I mean, and then you win every single game that season, no one else is putting in as much work as the Dalhousie football team. I can tell you that much right there. No one else in the league is putting in as much work as we're putting in. I can guarantee that.
Amen. For your third and fourth years now, especially since you were looking for something more to do in 2023, you held the position of VP Players on the executive team. What was it that inspired you to get into kind of the management component of the club?
Well, actually, that was kind of reactionary to my injury, my shoulder injury. I wanted to find a way that I could still contribute to the team, that I could still work for the team, but I obviously couldn't play. So I had to find another way to get in with the boys. And that goes straight back to the culture, like you got to find a way to contribute in any way that you can, whether you're injured or not. And so that was my way of contributing that year. And I'm absolutely ecstatic that I did, because I got to meet you, Jaden.
There we go.
And the rest of the executive team, which everyone that works on the executive team, first of all, it's a great opportunity if you're just a student living here to get involved in an amazing program with a group of, I don't know, you're going to meet like 75, 80 guys that are instantly going to be friends with you because you're working on the same exact mission that they're working on, right? So,
100%.
Yeah, it was an absolutely phenomenal opportunity. I got to meet a lot of great people doing that, and yeah, I couldn't have been happier about that decision. So, and that's obviously why I continued even the next year when I started playing again too. So,
well, and we were sure glad that we had you, because you always brought the energy for sure.
I was definitely an energy guy, at least. There.
Well, that is actually kind of the end of my cards. I have one last question for you, but obviously, congratulations. You're about to graduate in like 2 months. So
are you. Congratulations to that as well.
Double congratulations. What's next for Liam?
Well, I'm going to be joining you in the Masters in International Business at Queen's. And then after that, I think I'm going to apply to law school somewhere. That's kind of what's next on the docket. You never really know, though.
Well, we can't wait for that, because I'm certainly going to need a lawyer on speed dial.
Yeah, it's a lot of reading, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I actually do enjoy reading a little bit. I know you'd never tell, because I'm kind of a meathead. But
no, come on. I see you reading all the time. This man reads. The only person I know deletes Instagram and reads for an hour every night, and I have a lot of respect for that.
I try, man. I try. I read for pleasure right now, though.
There you go. Well, why else?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that is actually the end of my cards. Thank you so much for coming in and doing this.
Thank you, Jay.
There is nobody that I would rather have done the inaugural episode of this with. So I'm so excited, and this is going to be a great season of Tackle Talks. But thank you for everything. It's been a delight to meet you. And
hey, thank you. And I look forward to continue working with you at Masters in Business. I'm sure we'll have some classes together there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. There's no one else that I'd rather have interview me than you, man. So this guy, stud, man. He does such good work for us in the marketing department here. The social media and all of our other platforms would never be where they are today without this man right here. So shout out to you, Jaden. I appreciate all the hard work that you do, man. You're my brother for real as well, man.
Yeah.
Cheers, bro.
We'll catch you in the next episode with another wonderful secret guest, but he has something to do with a certain Mr. Chisari. So we're not going to say who it is, but you'll know.
Yeah, my rookie, maybe.
See you guys next time.